Hello.
Sure, sure.
Sir, you're not audible right now. I think you are mute. You're on mute, sir.
Unmuted. Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
Yes. Yes, you are audible loud and clear. So, do you have anything to present, sir?
Excuse me, come again?
Do you have any? Yes. Do you have anything to present on screen while the live is going on?
I do, yes. So I have my presentation in the background.
Okay. Yes.
Hi,
So
how are
I'll
you?
just make you co-host so that you can present.
Oh, do you want me to share my screen or?
Yes. Just check once right now so that you can share.
Hold on. Okay, how's that looking?
Perfect. Perfect. It's perfect, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's perfect. You can stop sharing right now. And Hari, sir, do you want to share your screen while the live?
Sorry,
Hari, sir, am I audible?
sorry, say again.
Yeah, you're audible. Am I?
Yeah, yeah. You are loud and clear. So, do you need to present your screen while?
No, no, that would be Harald. Only Harald will be presenting.
Okay,
I
okay, perfect. I'll hand it over to Abhijit, sir.
am I can't hear you guys. Hello.
Yep, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, even I
Yeah,
can hear you.
hi. I can hear you now. Perfect. So is the tech check done? No. So are you presenting something?
I am.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hi, Hari sir,
Hello.
and hi,
So hi
Mr. Belker.
Harald,
Hi.
welcome back. Welcome to India. This is Abrojit. He is going to be anchoring the session. Yeah, just
So
Abrojit, let us
I
know
would
when we are going
be
to go live. Yeah.
I would be doing a very quick introduction
Okay.
for you both, and then of course I would kind of hand over the mic to Harish sir, and he would be taking it forward.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Belker, I just wanted to confirm two very quick things from you. The pronunciation of, is it Armadigon?
Is it, excuse me?
Is it Armadigon? Armadigon. Like include vehicle designs. You've done vehicle designs for Oblivion, Total Recall, Tron Legacy. I think the name of the movie, is it Armadigon?
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Okay, the spelling here was a mistake. Okay, it's Armageddon. All right.
But actually, let's put in Minority Report and Batman and Robin. Those are.
Yeah, that's there. That's absolutely there.
Okay.
And so the next line reads that. And the next thing is that you were the head of hardware design at Anki, A-N-K-I, it's Anki Inc., right? Anki.
Yes.
Anki Inc. All right. Okay. I'm really sorry. I just wanted to kind of confirm the exact names.
Totally understand. No problem.
Not a problem. Let me do it. So I think we have a little bit of time, probably a couple of minutes before.
So yeah, in that case, yeah, Harald. So once the introduction is over, probably I'll chip in a bit, and then you would be taking over with your work experience of 30 plus years through entertainment industry and the whole stint. And probably after that, maybe I plan to ask few questions, and then we go on to the toy design in metal. All right, and then post that again a few Q&A. So
Okay,
that's
so
how.
at what point do you want me to start to present my presentation?
Pardon?
At what point do you want me to present the presentation? Do we talk first and then I present, or?
we talk first. After Abhijit, we talk a little, and then you start your presentation. Then you break once you're done with the bike, with the
Guys, we are
ride.
going live. Guys, sorry for interrupting. We are going live
Sure,
in the
sure.
next 10 seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
doesn't matter. Cool.
Green screen abhi. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have Mr. Harald Belker and Professor Harish CB. Welcome to both of you. Harald Belker is a force of nature in the area of automotive design with a list of design credits that include the smart car for Mercedes-Benz, the Batmobile for the Warner Brothers, the Batman and the Robin movie, and the futuristic cars of Steven Spielberg's Minority Report. Other movie credits include the vehicle designs for Armageddon, Oblivion, Total Recall, and Tron Legacy. Harald has been involved in the design field for more than 30 years. After graduating with honors from the Art Center College of Design, Mr. Harald Belker fell into the dream design job of designing cars for Porsche AG and Mercedes-Benz Advanced Design. He has published several books that reflect his passion for automotive design. The Pulse, in particular, featured his view on the future of racing vehicles. After 7 years as the head of hardware design at Anki Inc., a consumer robotics company located in San Francisco, he is now jumping back and forth between film design and conceptual design projects for companies like Apple and Samsung. He has also worked for Metal Toys, Hot Wheels. Now introducing you to Professor Harish CB. Harish CB is the head of design for automobile and transportation design at United World Institute of Design. Our very own Harish sir is an industrial designer with competent skills and has an expertise in the process of learning and system of design education of the present day. An academician with a lot of zeal towards collaborative projects with students and flavored with teaching methods that resonate with latest industry trends practiced in the domain. In this exciting chat today, Harald will be dwelling on how aspiring transportation and industrial designers can contribute to the toy and gaming domains in the modern era. Welcome to both of you. Harish sir, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you so much. Wonderful introduction. We are excited. In fact, I'm very excited to have Harald to this side of the world. Welcome to India, Harald.
Oh,
it
hey,
has to be online.
It's a little late here in Los Angeles, but welcome to everybody in India. And I'm very happy to share my experience and my knowledge and help possible future industrial designers, automotive designers to change the world.
So, I have to say this, Harald, your books, Pulse and Ride, they are very popular out there, and it finds its way in almost all the design schools out here. And I have to repeat this. I mean, some of my students have really benefited out of those. Your vision of future way of racing, the autonomous racing. It's fantastic. It's still relevant. It's gonna be relevant for maybe more than 10 years coming from now.
Thank you so much. That is fantastic to hear. I mean, that's why people like myself do publish books. You know, it's a lot of work, and it's not really a financial benefit, but in order to inspire young people to do something that I know I enjoy doing is worthwhile.
Wonderful. So, so Harald, we know that you are you are an alumnus of Art Center Pasadena, and you have done your transportation design. And could you just take us through your design journey from 1990s? I think that is when you have got into the world of design.
Yes. So, I mean, I studied engineering before I went to Art Center, but I wasn't ready to work quite yet. So I found out about studying automotive design, and Art Center in California seemed, I'm German, so it seemed like a perfect place to spend another 3.5 years. So I chose Art Center and I got accepted. Going through the program, which is quite challenging, I got job offers from Mercedes and Porsche, and decided to go first for Porsche. And then after a few months, I had an offer from Mercedes standing to go back to Los Angeles and open a advanced design studio in Los Angeles. So I took them up on that offer. Porsche wasn't very happy about it, but you know, that's how life goes. And we did some fantastic projects. The smart car was one. We basically every year at Mercedes, you work on a new line of vehicles. So the SUV was one of the first ones that we also designed, and it very much looked like the production vehicle. But I also knew that I was not somebody who would thrive in the corporate world. So I decided to leave Mercedes and see what else is out there. And I got very lucky with getting into the film industry. And right away, I got to design the Batmobile. So, I mean, as any one of your students will know, the dream of designing a Batmobile is probably something that just does not happen in you know, any day. So, but it happened to me, and that opened up a whole new world of design in film. And I did that from 1996 to about, well, 10 years ago to 2010. And that's when things slowly just moved away from Los Angeles. So I would have to travel a lot. And I got approached by a company in San Francisco that developed consumer products, consumer robotic products by the name of Anki. And it was a great challenge, a new challenge. And that's something as a designer that I always appreciate. And I did that for 7 years. Unfortunately, the company went down, which happens with startup companies. You know, it's especially in the toy industry, which has a lot of challenges by having to sell a lot of toys during certain times of the year. And so now I've been back to working for corporations that need designs like Apple, Samsung, big corporations, and also started to go back into movies. And I'm currently working on Black Panther 2 to do a whole row of new vehicles for that movie.
Oh, well, so when is Black Panther coming out?
That's probably 2 or 3 years from now. So, you know, we're just at the beginning, but it's a fantastic adventure. The first one was really incredible. And they asked me, you know, to help them design the vehicles, and there's a lot of vehicles in it. So.
Oh, wonderful. So I guess we are not going to miss that, Harald. We are definitely not going to miss that. So that's really great. Harald, so I would be great if we could start with the presentation. We would
Sure.
love to see how you started.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen with you.
Sure.
And I hope everybody can see it. So design is a lot of things, and you know, let me walk you through some of the designs I started with. And here you have sort of what I loved about automotive design is the sketching. You know, it's just an art form that where you capture the emotion. It's not a product. It's not stationary. So for me, sketching a car always related to the great line quality. And if I can just tell you, students, that that is a long journey, actually. I did not sketch like that when I went through Art Center or when I graduated Art Center. This is like many years after working as a professional and really honing in the skill of sketching with a quality where I wasn't concerned so much about sketching. I was concerned about the design, but I was able to show it with my pencils and my renderings. And so that's something that just doesn't come overnight. It will take many years. And so I just want to have your students relax and everybody else that this is something that you have to work on for a very long time. So, but these are the old days. You know, today you go very much or very quickly into three-dimensional design. And that's what I am today. But, you know, in the past, and still to myself, I like to keep my sketching skills up, and so that's what these look like. This is some work from Mercedes, some later work as well with the renderings, but you know, that is the fun about automotive design, really. Let me also introduce you to some stuff that I was then you know, that moved me into a whole new direction of design. And that was the Batmobile. Batman and Robin in 1996. We still did everything by hand. All the renderings were done in pencil and markers. And we didn't have computers to really help you with the design. So we went through all the stages of clay modeling to really, you know, show off the design. So, and this is a good page that shows you a lot of variation of the sketches and the renderings I had to do to work on this movie. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, that, you know, I remember the Batmobile when I was 10 years old. It was from the TV series, and I go, that is just the coolest thing ever. You know? So being able or being asked to actually design another vehicle for a movie like that was just incredible. And it opened really a whole new industry for me as a car designer that I never thought I would be part of. On this picture, you see a whole bunch of Batmobiles. There is, all the way to the left, you see the TV Batmobile. And the guy who designed and modeled it is George Barris. It's the shortest, the oldest guy in this picture. He has passed away a couple of years ago. But, you know, he was an inspiration and he's a character. So this was an event at Warner Brothers some years ago, where all the Batmobiles were displayed, and they did a little film about the heritage and everything. So it was a very special moment, and you know, something you always remember.
So Harald, so sorry to interrupt, but those are the different generations of Batmobile. That is
yes. So from the left you have the TV Batmobile. Then you have the one from Tim Burton movies. There were two of those. The one next to that is designed by the guy in the middle, Tim Flattery, and that was the Batmobile, the Batman movie before me. And I only got the job because he was very busy at the time when they were doing the next Batmobile. So you have to be lucky at the right place and have some talent, you know. So, and you
you
know,
made the best use of it.
Was one of the first that was like all an open seater again. So it was a lot of fun to work on. Everything had to do with the Bat logo. And you know, I was like a 10-year-old boy the whole time I worked on this. So in my job, I never have to grow up. So another movie that I'm very proud of is Minority Report, and it's now a movie that's 20 some years old, but it really had to deal with the future. And you know, it is so today that we talk about autonomous cars and autonomous vehicles. So of course, in a movie scenario, you don't want to just limit yourself to road driving cars. So we talked about having a maglev system where these vehicles drive or are driven, and it's all automated. So you have no control, or you just tell it where to go, and then it gets you there, and it's very fantastic in many ways. And I think only because at some point in the script, I was told that we need a vehicle to leave town. This was all, you know, inside Washington, D.C. We leave town, so then we had to do this red Lexus. Lexus at some point became the sponsor of these vehicles. And that just means that they're going to bring a lot of money to the production. But, you know, they give me a box of Lexus logos and I'll put them on the vehicle. So everybody wins. So, but, you know, it was an interesting challenge. And besides the vehicle that got a lot of press during the time, I really actually enjoyed the development of the autonomous vehicle. And we did a fantastic model of the red Lexus, and I'm just calling it red Lexus because we never came up with a name for it. It was just, the color was red because that's an exciting color. And it was a full functional electric motor powered vehicle that worked for the movie really well. I also want to share some other things. I mean, movie or entertainment design is not just cars. Then, you know, you get thrown into all kinds of vehicles. If it's hover vehicles, like to the left for Total Recall, the Tron motorcycle. Right there in the middle is the Cat in the Hat vehicle, which has, you know, very little to do with true automotive design. But then again, you get thrown into top right here, where we had to design a military airplane. And literally you have 2 or 3 weeks to design the whole thing. And so you do your research, you make it a lot bigger, a lot more advanced. And then at the end of the day, you build something, you design something that will never be built, but will be exciting on the screen. So, you know, besides all that, that is the fantastic world of working in film. And, you know, in the past, I've also worked for some Indian production where, you know, they ask for some crazy stuff and you go, why not? You know, it's a movie. So
that means you would have worked with Daniel Simon, right? In Tron.
Daniel Simon, yeah. So when Tron was starting, I worked on it for about 3 months, and Daniel was still in Germany, and he had some presence on the internet, which is very important these days to have presence on the internet. And he also had published a book at that point. And so I knew him through a friend of mine. My friend is the chief designer of Bugatti in Germany. And he said, you know, he wants to really go into entertainment design. So I helped him actually come over to America and work on Tron. And because he was, you know, already very good at 3D modeling and expressing his designs, he sort of took over. And then that was a very unfortunate moment where his ability of working in 3D sort of outdid my ability to design in 2D. So that was, you know, a long time ago, and I'm fully capable of doing everything in 3D now. But so he sort of, in a way, took over my early designs and then developed them further. And then it was a great vehicle for him to launch his career in film design. So he lives about 2 miles away from me. So once in a while we have a coffee. And very nice guy. I mean, that's a good thing about Los Angeles. You know, you all live within the city. So, but I also want to talk about other things. You know, I'm not just interested in vehicle design or entertainment design. I also like very much furniture. I've done a whole bunch, and this is one of my chairs that actually won some awards. It's called the Maxell chair. And I call it that because if anyone remembers, a long time back, there was an ad for a tape, the Maxell tape. It's for recording. And there was a guy sitting in a square chair. It was a Le Corbusier chair. And the wind was blowing in his face. And I said, one day I want to design a chair that has that feeling of, you know, very kind of automotive, but there's a dynamic in the chair that you normally don't see in chair designs. And so build a model, and then we had a small run of production in running. So, but I also found out that the furniture industry is a very tough industry. So, you know, if you sell a few pieces as an individual, you are a success. So there you go. Besides all that, then you also get hired by companies to help them launch their products. Sunglasses is one of them that I like to feature here. Canon, it's a company that is based in the US, and we did a lot of athletic fashion sunglasses. So they had a fantastic technology with the lenses, and it was just a different challenge. And, you know, I can only push the intent that as a designer, you want to be creative and you always want to challenge yourself. And even though I never designed sunglasses before, after a short time, I got really comfortable doing that. And we came out with about six different frames every year. We did it for about 10 years. So needless to say, I have a lot of sunglasses at home. Back to the books that were mentioned earlier, Pulse, of course, one of them. And it just was one of those projects that, since I'm very interested in Formula One racing, but I'm also very interested in the future, that I wanted to combine those. And there was just no better way than doing that in the format of a book that could that way I could explain everything that was that needed to be expressed, the rules, the whole concept of it. And you know, you're gonna have these dreams of just creating something new. And so you have to find a vehicle to show that and share that with the world. Here is a couple pictures of another book I did. It was called Ride. And at that point, I was really starting to get really interested in 3D modeling to express my designs. Beforehand, I was designing, sketching, and then I would have to hire a 3D modeler to put my designs into 3D. So with a program by Luxology, it's called Modo. It's based on polygon modeling. So it's not a CAD program. It's really a creative program because it deals with polygons, so you can move things around the way you can express and really find design. And so I thought, what better way is to publish a book while I'm learning the program, because then you're under the time pressure of having to deliver something. You know, to me, if I don't have a deadline, I'm not going to do it. So I need a deadline. I need a goal to really create something. And So I designed a motorcycle from a conceptual stage to a functional stage, and besides the wonderful rendering program, it also has, besides the wonderful modeling that the program does, it also has a fantastic render engine. So that is always, you know, you want to, as you go through the years, technology and the way we're going to design will continue to change all the time. I mean, I'm talking to friends now, and they are now in the virtual reality concept world, you know, so where they literally work in 3D in virtual reality. So, and I think that is fantastic, and I'm a little scared of it because, you know, you're just going to completely check out of your world, and you know, it's a weird thing.
I think that was a really wonderful point that you put out there, Harald. A lot of my students, they're onto the analog sketching and illustration, and a lot of them show hesitation in going to the 3D modeling and sculpting, which right now I think we are largely learning alias. But I think, yeah, Modo is something which you use, and according to you, it helps in quick conceptualization on 3D. It should be a good learning for our students. I think they should not ignore the 3D skills, right?
No,
Isn't it?
absolutely not, because it really, in 3D, you can very quickly express what you're trying to show. And so it's just a shortcut of doing it quicker. You know, you don't go through the whole design stage and then model. You know, I do these days, I do some sketches and then go right into model and then explore my design in the 3D world. So, but it's nothing that again, you know, it's nothing that comes overnight. It takes time, and you have to find the way that it works for you.
All right. So, Harald, one another question that I had was, you worked in movies like Minority Report, where you are dealing with Steven Spielberg on one hand, you are dealing with Tom Cruise on the other, and you're dealing with a production designer. What are the challenges? I'm sure, and you have Lexus, and you must be communicating with Lexus chief designer. What are the challenges? I mean, in terms of timeline and meeting the quality, in order to come together on all four opinions, it must be crazy.
It is. So the one good thing in film is you don't have time. So the killer in design, I think, is if you have too much time, where you constantly have to listen to your boss and you change things. So in film, you don't have time. So let's just, the red Lexus, for instance, the script was changed and it said, we need a vehicle. So I said, okay, cool. By experience, I know how long it takes to build the driving vehicle. And so we had the date where the car had to be on set. So that was 3 months out. So in the most optimistic way, we can build it in 2 to 2.5 months. So that gave me 2 weeks of designing it. So that means I'm going to design something and they really don't have a choice, you know. So you know, I think I know what we're going for. So early on, I had some sketches of other vehicles, and they said, okay, how about this one, you know? And the car looks the way because it was actually a police car at some point, and it was a single driver in the front. That's why the cab forward was so extreme. So why don't we make that a sports car? I said, okay. So within 2 days, I did the sketches. I ran them by the production designer. He said, all right, let's show it to Steven. Steven said, looks good, let's go for it. And then I had to sit for 2 weeks. And I was doing Christmas here. For 2 weeks, I had to sit with the 3D modeler, and we literally finished in 2 weeks. And which means that back in the days in 2000, monitors were only 15 to 17 inches big. So we never looked at the whole vehicle bigger than 15 inches. So once we sent off the model and had it cut out of foam with CNC, with the CNC milling machine, 2 days later, I saw the whole design for the first time in full size.
1:1.
1:1. And it was like one of those, oh my God, experiences where, it looked cute in the small screen, and now I see it in full size. The car was 2 meters wide. So, which, I kind of knew, but I didn't know what it really would look like. So that is one, that is just film. You don't have time. You have to find ways to have shortcuts. Nothing gets, with the headlights, tail lights. Those are just cut lines and a different material. But, in automotive design, you can spend 6 months just designing headlights, But in film, it is just, it has to be done very quickly. So.
Cool. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about this, but I think due to time constraints, I think let's move on to toys. Yes.
Toys, yes. So toys is let me share my screen again. Sure. And let's go into toys. So about 12 years ago, I did work for Hot Wheels for Mattel for a couple of years. And it's sort of a fantastic world because in Hot Wheels, you do very weird things. It's all automotive, and on the left side here with the sketches and those cars, they were looking for new lines of toys. But you also have cars like the top orange one here, where they have weird proportions. So they take classic cars and they just tweak them, like the long tail. Bottom left here, that's the Tim Burton Batmobile, and the theme was that the front is twice as big as the rear. So, these were challenges that that Mattel produces, and I was lucky to have here with the HP Roadster and the cruise missile that. No, the cruise missile is this 1950s GM design where, it was a show car based on rockets. What they did in the 50s.
The Firebird.
Yes, and so make that look fantastic. So. But with the Roadster, HP Roadster, I said, if I do all these vehicles for you, I think I did about 12 cars for them. I want to have a couple that are my own design, and they kind of represent me. So the HP Roadster and the one here in the middle, the orange one, those were the ones that were licensed to me. And then, of course, that worked out really well. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of sketching, a lot of coming up with great new ideas. And then let me move to Anki. So Anki, about 9 years ago, they came up with this racing game where with your iPhone you could control these vehicles, and they wanted some race vehicles or something that has a lot of intellectual ability. And it was just a fantastic game because it really went into the world of what kids like these days, where you have weapons, you have, you can shoot the other car, and it's all within the little microchip inside the vehicle. But on this vehicle, it's about it's about 6 centimeters long. I want to walk you through what it takes to design a car like that, because scale is everything, and also limitations. So when I would start designing these things, so I had the maximum length of the vehicle, I had the ground clearance, and I also had, you see these pipes here, those were the light pipes, where I had to have some sort of clearance through the vehicle that would show lights on top of the vehicle. So that's how, you know, you see interaction, if it's either guns or whatever they had. So those were light pipes, and within that I had to, those were my restrictions. And you see a very awkward kind of proportion as well. So I would usually just start with very quick sketches just to get a new idea for each of the vehicles. So this is a long way from my early sketches, where I would spend, you know, a significant time sketching these things out. So here I was just looking for some sort of idea of what I can possibly do with those vehicles. And then in 3D, I would sort of knock it out relatively quickly, not really concerned about wall thicknesses or anything else, but just to get the proportions right, and also get the placements for the light pipes in the right place. Then I would do a quick rendering, just showing that to my boss at Anki, and he goes, "Well, that looks cool, but you know, I can totally see that as one of our new vehicles." And really focus on something that you know, in toys you sort of over exaggerate elements. So you have the intakes, you have things on the side, but if you see the next image, you'll see how things become really muted because of wall thicknesses, cutback, you know, all kinds of things, draft angle. So it was a little bit of a learning experience to recognize, and then in the future design around all these limitations. And but in the end, they usually worked out really well. And here's just a nice rendering of that same vehicle. And you know, but that's something when you go into toy design, that you have to recognize. You're working with a different scale, and you also have to really work with how manufacturing works. You know, injection molded, and you know, all the limitations, how you put them together. You don't want too many parts, but you also still want to keep your initial design alive. So that was a very fun thing, and we got better and better at it, and then in the end did some really cool vehicles. So
Harald, has it ever happened that you designed a vehicle and you had to change the design after a few iterations because of constraints from the manufacturing side?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is like my initial idea. It has like a lot more details and a lot more, like the elements are thinner and like, you know, little more finesse maybe. So all that in a way goes away. And so I constantly, like my 3D modeler who does the production version, he says, you know, if we do this, then we can do that. You know, so you have to go back and forth all the time. And you have to have an open mind as a designer. You know, they don't want to, you know, guys who want to produce something, they don't want to mess with you or make your life hard. They just want to have a good product. So you have to have an open mind to that sort of thing, and just work with them. It will make your life easier, and it will make everybody's life easier. So at the end, I also want to show some fun stuff. Then, you know, if you work for a company like Jada, who specializes in changing existing vehicles and making these war machines. I've worked in a few movies where I had to do the same thing. I just had to toughen up vehicles and make them fun, and you know, something that you go to battle with. So, you know, there's so many avenues of, especially automotive toys and the way you can take it, that it's not always, you not always have a chance to create something completely new. A lot of times you have to work with something that already exists, and then you change it to a very specific feature. So that's about it for my work. And then if you want to see anything else, I also have a website, haraldbelker.com, and please roam around, and you know, you'll see a lot more stuff.
Oh, that was wonderful, Harald. That was really amazing. Just one thing, when you worked in Mattel, could you just throw some light on the workflow? Like you're in your studio, you're sitting, or you're working for Mattel, and you're churning out concepts. And what happens? Does it go out of the US? Usually these are manufactured in Malaysia or China, right? So
Yes.
you must be making an iteration or a model to get reviews, and again you would be giving a review, and then the final die cast or the injection model comes out. So can you just take us through that stages? What is the typical process?
Well, so you send off your sketches or your model, and it's sort of incredible, especially for like Hot Wheels, Mattel. There are people who take your drawings, and back in the days it was just, you know, all the views, top, side view, front view, and a view of how the four different materials are staggered. And they work with that, and they work in the material. What was that material that he worked in? It's a very soft material, but the way they interpret your design was just incredible. I mean, that was just Hot Wheels back, you know, 15 years ago. So you would get a model that's like 4 times the size of the actual model, but they interpreted your design to everything.
Just
It's
from
like,
your sketches?
Just from the sketches, yes.
Oh, okay.
So these days, you know, with if I do a 3D model, I can very quickly grow a model. Let me just show you this. So I can very quickly grow a model with stereolithography, you know. So I just send this model off, and then 2 days later, I get a model in this resin, and it has everything, every detail that I want. So I'm not sure how some of the companies work anymore, but at Anki, it was the same thing, where we just, you know, you have the 3D data, and you save it out to be like grown in the polymer, and then you have the 3D model of it.
Wonderful. That's really wonderful. So the other thing which I wanted to know was, so we have a bunch of, we are a transportation design department out here in India. So do you feel transportation designers contribute well in the field of toy design?
Well, it's a very specific field, you know. It's just like film or toys. Transportation is just a very small portion of being creative and being a designer. So, you know, so you have to be good if you want to get into that. And but you know, if you don't, I think that this design is so. There's so much to design that don't get discouraged if you don't end up in the automotive design, you know. So that there's a lot of other things that, like my graduating class from Art Center, we were 12 people, and 3 only ended up in automotive design, and the others just started product design or something, or became entrepreneurs, and then came up with some fantastic product. And I'll tell you, they're a lot richer than the car guys.
I think that's a great piece of advice for all the transportation designers as well as the industrial designers out there. I think don't just stick to one profession. Spread your wings to whatever you get to design. And I think Harald has been stressing on few things. Change is required. I mean, you need to work on really different things. A frequent change of projects is very much required in a designer's life to keep us all fresh, isn't it, Harald?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I noticed you're one of those very few persons out there, creative designers who out there who follow the aspect of form follows function. You don't just make something out of the blue and just make it not working. It always has to have a context. I mean, it's very much visible from your work in Minority Report. Everything is very detailed. The maglevs are very detailed. It's almost like production spec. It is just that technologies will go for a run researching on how to make it possible.
Thank you,
So
Harish. Thank you, Harish.
yeah. Thank
Hi
you.
guys. I kind of hate to break in such a wonderful session, but sadly we've kind of run out of time.
Okay.
But thank you, Harald. Thank you, Harish. It was a lovely session. Honestly, it was a visually fantastic session as well. A treat for all the automobile lovers out here. Getting to see the Batmobile in a very different environment, and of course getting to meet the designer behind it is probably a childhood dream for all of us back here. And you said that, and I'll quote you, design and conceptual thinking does not come overnight. You need to remain committed to it. I think this particular thing resonated so much with designers and students out here as well. That is something that, thank you for saying that and sharing that. Again, thank you for speaking about the importance of design and its correlation with time. That design becomes sort of invalid with time. If you don't kind of do something at the right time, you lose out. Again, huge words of practical wisdom. Thank you, both of you. Thank you, Harald. Thank you, Harish. And to all the participants who joined us today, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for making this particular session so very special. Have a great day ahead, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
My See pleasure. You soon again. Yeah.
All right. Bye. Bye, Harish.
Thank you. Thank you, Harald. Thank you. Yeah.